Welcome back to Hell's Angels.
The game.
I am your host, Charlie's Angels.
And I am Mick Jagger. Michael, if you know me. But you don't.
But you don't, so it's Mr. Jagger to you.
It's Dr. Jagger.
I didn't go to school for 10 years to be called Mr. Jagger.
Again, I like the idea of going to school and getting the title of doctor, but not being an actual doctor that can, like, save your life. It's like, oh, he's like a doctor.
No, but I just know a bunch about a certain subject. And
like,
that subject does not happen to be medicine.
I can tell you about soil erosion, like, all day.
Like a mother.
Like
a guy.
I mean, does that do anything for you, ladies? Because, boy, I'm your man. If you're about soil.
If you're insisting on doctor, this man cannot. Is choking on a piece of food.
Just be like, I can tell you about the silt deposits in the Nile, and then you sit back down and continue eating your dinner, and just like,
and not help the situation at all.
And just with the.
But him? Oh no, I can't help you with him. I'm so sorry.
And Dr. Mick Jagger is just. By the way, his name is Mick Jagger. He's not that Mick Jagger.
Different guy. Totally
different guy. Same name. He always has to answer for like, oh, you mean like Mick Jagger? He's like, yes, I know. We're not, but I'm not him. Thank you. Please leave your soil deposit in the tray as you exit. But I like to imagine Dr. Mick Jagger with his date after that whole exchange of like, I'll tell you about the silt deposits of the Nile, and then he just goes back and he's like, so how did you get into pottery? That's really interesting. And meanwhile, in the background, this guy's just going, and no one has saved him, and he just continues to die while Dr. Mick Jagger makes bad small talk.
Not a great first date all around.
Commits some kind of date faux pas, like.
He's walking, but it's like a really small one, but like a very, noticeable one. Anytime they're like walking, he's always walking like 3 steps in front of her.
Yeah, it's not super noticeable, but it's noticeable enough to her to be like,
excuse me,
no second date for you.
Yeah, no.
Or like, yeah, you're gonna lean in for the goodnight kiss, and you're gonna get like
a nice hug.
Or if you do really poorly from here on out, a handshake.
A firm handshake.
How bad would you have to do on a date where it might have gone well to earn yourself a handshake at the end of the night?
What's the opposite of graduate? Be reduced down to handshake?
Demoted.
Demoted, thank you, yes.
You're down to full-on handshake.
Yeah, no, it's been, so in my imagination, the date has been going great. So great. You guys have been hitting off. Great conversation. And then you share the fact that the movie you guys had watched earlier that night was actually a pirated movie, and she got like insulted by that fact.
Yeah, she's one of those people. She's like, my brother is a best boy in Hollywood.
You're stealing from him.
You're stealing movies. And you're just like, oh. And then that's also the tell where she starts talking about like, yeah, and I just really don't believe in like, I just want to say that like all lives matter, why? And you're like, and for you,
well, that's when. So then I haven't been demoted to handshake. She's been demoted to handshake.
She's been demoted to. Well, I'm gonna walk home. I'll see you later. Or she's been demoted to. Well, you can get a ride, right? She's like, you drove me here. We're 20 miles out from my car.
We're
like,
very far. I don't live around here.
Sorry. I was just trying to think of like, man, what's something that's an instant, like, everybody's got to have male, female, non-binary, what have you. Like, everybody's got to have those trigger points of like, that's a no for me,
that's
dog.
That's a hard pass for me, guy.
That like,
mine would be I would just ask to meet their parents like that night.
And if they've got a big painting
So
of...
we're a thing now, right? It's been 30 minutes. I don't even know what your last name is because you haven't told me.
What's the worst date you've ever been on, Goodwin?
Ooh.
Without getting like too personal. We
Yeah,
don't
no,
have
of
to
course.
name names or anything.
I mean, actually, the bit I did earlier about stealing stuff is my bad date story.
Really?
Um,
Why were you watching a pirated copy? Oh, there you go.
no, I went to went out to a Starbucks with a girl, meeting up with this girl at Starbucks, and we were at a table. We got our coffee, and then sat at a table that was like right next to the case that has like the display case of like coffee grounds, so you can take the Starbucks experience home if you would like to.
Crappy coffee, gotcha.
Yeah, and so we're sitting exactly 100%. So we're sitting right next to that, and I'm a think out loud kind of guy. Even if I'm thinking to myself, I'll narrate my own thoughts when I'm alone. And this does not change if I'm around people.
Yeah, that's what sociopaths do, but whatever.
Sure.
Let me just stop your story to shit on you a bit.
to let you know you're a psychopath. Yeah.
Everybody does that. It's
You know
like,
what I mean.
I'm just giving you shit.
No, I know. I've heard you do it. You fucking psycho.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Oh, I do it, and I do it because I'm actually nuts.
Because you are a crazy person.
100%. Don't go on a date with me. I'm just kidding.
No. So I'm doing this, and I say, but also like I'll do that if I'm in a in sort of active and or passive conversation with the second person. I'll do this to like maintain small talk, and I say, and to see what their take on the sort of thing might be, and I say out loud, and I need to say I have a backpack with me because we're on a college campus to fill you in on one more detail that's
Just set the scene.
Yeah, and I say, oh my God, I could very easily put one of these bags of coffee grounds in my backpack. Be very easy for no one to notice. And I'm kind of saying this while like looking at the coffee grounds, so connect my observation with my thought that I'm saying, and then I look back up at her, and her face has shifted to mortified.
Wow.
To just like I have said something that has insulted her family name, like I have blasphemed her whole legacy, or just something terrible.
Like you just took a piss in the holy water.
Oh my God.
Like that bad.
And I'm like, I'm sorry, what's wrong? Did I do something? And she's like, I don't like people who steal. And I'm like, all right, cool, that's fine. Wasn't going to do it. Just want to make that clear, although I can understand your concern. And then I shared the thing, the fact that I was addressing earlier. I was like, well, I do occasionally pirate movies and things and TV shows, to get my entertainment fix. And then I say this now with maintaining full eye contact, and she pauses for about a solid 10 seconds, and then says, "I have to go," and gets up and walks away.
Wow. Damn. I mean, fuck it. At least she didn't waste either of your time.
No, she did not.
Like, well, that's definitely not. Okay, so when you were making that anecdote earlier, it wasn't a joke so much as it was based on a true story.
Based on a true story. Yeah.
Sell the rights to that. Make a movie of that.
Make a movie out of it.
And then pirate it.
Yeah. Any other bad dates I've been on are probably my fault, but that one is the one I can confidently say was not my fault.
Interesting.
Semi-confidently say it's not my fault.
Bad dates. I mean, if
you got any juicy ones?
I suppose, and like, look, this is probably way more true of like girls who have gone on dating apps than guys, because like no one has a good time on dating apps. This is my theory.
Tricky.
No one is really on dating apps because they're happy to be there. Because if you're a guy, there's a perceived sense of like you're either super lonely or you're trying to scam ladies. Generally, if you're heterosexual, I cannot speak for gay
For
folks.
those on Grindr.
Yes, which I would argue is probably more fun and more to the point, because you know exactly what you're there for.
Cut straight to the chase.
Many a friend in my teens in New York City who They were on Adam for Adam, and they were on Manhunt and all those. Yeah, so the predecessors to dating apps. They were on dating sites back before everybody had smartphones. And they generally rated them pretty well. Everybody knew what they were getting in for. Sex. Sex is what they were getting.
Homoerotic sex.
That's more power to it's like.
And more power to them.
Fuck it. All right. Yeah. I mean, literally and metaphorically. Go for it. Have a good time. But I feel like if you're a straight dude, there's a very fine line to walk where either you look sad to the person, let's say the lady viewing your profile, because your profile probably doesn't look good, because most dudes do not know how to present themselves online. Or you look sad because you know how to present yourself, and you're like me, where your sense of presentation is, yeah, I'm going to present myself honestly. So, like, if you don't like the picture of me in the striped pants at the roller rink, you're not the lady for me.
You're not getting it.
That's like, that's separate the wheat from the chaff. Like, nothing wrong with not liking that. It's just, if you can't co-sign on this photo, you're not going to like.
You're not going to like the rest.
Yeah. This is a taster. These are clothes, not a costume. So, I mean, any date most people have been on from a dating app, and like obviously there are tons of success stories. Like dating apps wouldn't stick around if people didn't like them and there wasn't something to them.
Right.
But I feel like any time you go out on a date via a dating app, man, you're playing blind man's bluff, because you could have a really great time. You could have a life-changing experience and meet someone that changes your life forever. But statistically speaking,
you just get to be in the room with another person for an afternoon, and then you never speak to them again.
Yeah. And that's not to say it's a bad experience necessarily. It's just, most of the time, it's adequate.
Sure, but you don't have any horror stories. And I say horror stories like the one I just shared is a horror story. Like, it's still pretty tame. And from my end, being a straight white dude, again, most bad dates have probably been my fault, but that's been my worst date, essentially.
I suppose it depends on how you define a date.
So, okay. One-on-one gathering with potential romantic partner. There, I've set the definition.
I'm just weighing whether or not I want to. Let me tell this story. I'll
Names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Pretty much, yeah. I'll tell a story about it was a girlfriend I had at the time. I was a teenager. We'll call her Connecticut. Let's just call her that.
Love it.
Let's pronounce Connecticut.
A real name that a person can have.
I mean,
proceed.
According to Elon Musk, AEX0023 whatever is a name that a real person can have. So sure. But basically, it's I'm a teenager.
Mm-hmm.
We're in the city. Actually, we're at the episode limit. Do we want to save this for the next Raspberry Plays?
Oh, that's juicy.
Stick around for a real steamy story
Ooh.
on the next Dear Penthouse Forum.
Oh my god!
Bye, everybody. That's a real good teaser.
Ooh, shit!